What's up, everybody? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. My name is Andre Ricketts, better known as EFB Ricketts. And as you can see, my wife is still not with me. She's still recuperating. But, my face is pretty enough for you to look at and make up for the both of us. Well, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about waiting to kiss on the wedding day. Is there a biblical reason as to why Christians should wait to kiss on the wedding day? As always, if you like what you watch and you haven't subscribed as yet, please click the button right here and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. But if you're watching on Facebook, please click on the link above and subscribe. And the link should bring you to our subscription page on YouTube. So please subscribe and support. Lately on social media, I've been coming across a reoccurring question. Should Christian couples wait till the wedding date to kiss? From New York to Los Angeles, even to Ethiopia, this question is making its rounds around the country and even around the world. Now, my wife and I have tackled this subject in our book, Jesus Christ at the Center of Your Journey to Marriage, Singleness, Courtship, Engagement, and Marriage in Light of the Everlasting Gospel. And we want to take some time to share a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message on this subject. Now, before you get the wrong idea, I'm not here to tell you that if you kiss or have kissed your mate before marriage, that you're going to go to hell or anything like that. But rather, I'm here to show you that the gospel is shown by waiting to kiss your mate at the altar. Now, to get a full picture of this, we're going to have to take a journey from the relationship stage of proposal to engagement and then ending at the first kiss at the wedding. Now, we all know that the standing tradition for a proposal is a man professing his undying love for the woman he is in a relationship with. This profession of love is his public declaration of the commitment that he is willing to make and is usually done in the presence of family, friends, and maybe even strangers. Now, there are some people who find it more intimate to propose alone, but the majority of the world, they profess in front of a whole bunch of people. Now, the man leaves himself vulnerable and open to shame if the woman rejects his proposal in front of everyone. Sadly, many men have experienced this crushing blow, some even on live television, man. That sucks. For the woman publicly declares her love by accepting the proposal in front of everyone. This is a proclamation to the world that the two have made a commitment or engagement rather for marriage. Now, for all the ballers out there, the man then provides the woman with an engagement ring. This is a sign to all the world that the woman is taken and set to be married. This sums up the well-known tradition practiced around the world today. Now, my wife and I, we didn't do the ring thing, so I was able to save a lot of money out there because I myself ain't a baller, and I'm lucky that I married someone who isn't looking for money in a man. Now, let's compare this to biblical times. What did the people in the Bible used to do? Well, in biblical times, the Israelites practiced something similar, but with a few twists. When a man proposed to a woman, he would offer her a cup of wine to drink. Now, we're not talking about liquor, we're talking about grape juice. If the woman drank the juice, it meant she accepted the proposal. This was done publicly amongst family and friends as a declaration to all of the commitment being made between the two. Now, if you really think about it, you'll begin to see how this custom maps out the plan of salvation. Just think really hard for a moment. Is there a practice that happens every so often at your church where you drink a cup of grape juice? Has the light gone off in your head yet? Yes. The communion service points back to Jesus Christ proposing to us. This is a practice we receive from the Last Supper, where Christ spoke of this cup of grape juice saying, "This cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you." Do you now understand why Christ's first miracle was performed at a wedding in turning water into wine? This was foreshadowing of what he came to do, proposing to the woman he came to woo, the church. Christ's first miracle also shows that his proposal is far greater than any proposal there ever was or ever will be. The word spoken by the governor of the wedding feast regarding the wine Jesus created shows us how great it was. In speaking to the bridegroom, the governor said, "Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, but when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But thou hast kept the good wine until now." You see what I'm saying? Jesus Christ publicly proposed to us in front of the entire world by getting up on a cross and putting himself to open shame. On the cross, he asks, "Will you receive me? Will you take me as your husband?" He's speaking to the church, us. He shed his blood for us on that cross. And if we receive his blood, then we're receiving his proposal. Now, as Jesus Christ proposed to us in a public declaration of love, how do we accept his proposal? The answer is plain and simple: baptism. Baptism is generally done before your church congregation, family, and friends as you devote your life to Jesus Christ. In this process, we go into the watery grave, being crucified with Christ for all to see. Just like Christ openly proposed to us in front of the entire world, we have to accept that proposal in front of the entire world just the same. Do you see the similarities from our relationships and the gospel? Jesus Christ wanted us to be able to see the gospel in how we handle our relationships. Our relationships are just an object lesson of the gospel. So then, what is the engagement ring that Christ gives to us? We receive our engagement ring in the form of the cross that we are symbolically supposed to bear. All who are engaged to Christ are expected to take up their cross and follow him. And that can be found in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24. As we bear this cross to the world by showing the character of Christ in our daily lives, we become known as individuals who are in a relationship with him. This is the same way a woman engaged to a married man can be identified by looking at her engagement ring. Our engagement ring is just the character of Jesus Christ in us for the world to see, and that's how they know that we're in a relationship with Jesus. Getting closer to the first kiss, we look at the engagement period. In biblical times, when a Hebrew man's proposal was accepted, the man would leave his fiancée for a time. He would then head back to his father's house or land, where he would build a house for himself and his bride. During this time, they had no physical contact with each other. Physical intimacy of any kind was not had during this time. Before her husband-to-be left, he would console his bride, who would surely have missed him. He made sure that there was no reason for the bride to worry, because she knew where he was. She understood the custom, and if there was any emergency in which she needed him, she knew the way to him. If you have not drawn out the parallel to the gospel, let me draw it out for you. Christ proposed to us on the cross, and we accept his proposal through baptism. After his crucifixion or his proposal to us, Christ rose again and returned to the home of his Father in heaven to prepare a place for his bride, us. Before Christ left, he gave his bride, or us, a very wonderful and promising assurance. "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know." That can be found in John chapter 14, verses 1 through 4. Now, I know it's taken a long time to get to the point of this video, but here we are. This brings us to the reason why we are having this discussion in the first place. They're not kissing until the wedding talk. The true tradition associated with this is the two parties avoiding all physical interaction in any way before the wedding. The first contact would be the wedding kiss, which is expected to be the first kiss. Today, we do not follow this tradition as closely, and it seems insane to many, including Christians. But there is a practical, Christ-centered reason why this was done. Looking at it from the gospel's point of view, while we are engaged to Christ, he is still preparing a place for us, and we are not able to physically be in his presence or have physical intimacy with him. Not only this, But because man has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, we lost the privilege of face-to-face communication with God. But at the second coming of Jesus Christ, which he calls the marriage of the Lamb, for the first time, we will have the physical contact and intimacy with our Lord and Savior. The tradition of waiting until the wedding to kiss is a symbol of what we are experiencing with Christ today. When we walk down the aisle, when he comes again, ascending to meet him at the altar in the air at the second coming, then there will be no more restrictions between us and our Savior, our soon-to-come King. The longing desire that we have had to be in his presence will be fed, and the experience will be made all the greater because he, as well as us, have waited so long for it. Now, do you see? If we had constant physical intimacy before this with Christ, what would be so great about this magical moment at the second coming? Absolutely nothing. So follow Jesus Christ and the gospel's example and wait for the special day. It is worth it. As I leave you, it is my desire that if you haven't learned anything from this video, that you learn this. To have a heaven on earth, it's a decision. So alter your mind and you will surely alter your future for the better. God bless you. If you were blessed by this video and you want to continue watching or lending your viewership support, then please click on the subscription button right here. And if you're watching on Facebook, then please click on the link above and it will bring you to our subscription page. If you'd like to know more about the material that we just talked about, how you can see the gospel in your relationship, then please pick up our book today, Jesus Christ at the Center of Your Journey to Marriage, Singleness, Courtship, Engagement, and Marriage, all in light of the everlasting gospel. You can find it on Amazon and soon to be on iBooks. Pick it up today.